Here we go. I am watching us. Okay. And you didn't say anything about my jacket. Let me play the music. Here we're going to start. Here we go. Dance with me, Martin.
So you want to be
Here you go. Oh,
a cool
Martin's going nuts on this one.
hanging with the
I got my drummer jacket on today. See my drummer jacket?
You're looking real cool and fine. Asking you
Get ready for the bridge.
So you want to be
Here we go. Bop, 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 bop. There we go. Welcome to, my goodness, what are we calling this show? We're calling this We Dish Too Saucy Dame. I'm the Too Saucy, and this is my too cool dude, Martin S. Welcome back, Martin. How have you been?
Excellent. It is great weather in the Pacific Northwest, which is always good. It has gotten cool. Kids are in school, so everything is fine.
Wonderful. I'm glad everything is fine. And can we ask how old your kids are? Do you want to tell me?
They are 8 and 6 at the moment.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, they're in this age where they're still listening, knock on wood.
You
But
have
they're
a
at the point
formidable
where
job, Dad. You have a formidable job ahead of you, little people. That's exciting. Yes, I can't even remember. Let me read the opening, excuse me, and let's get this started. So you know us well. Bonnie D and Martin S too. Wave hello, Martin. We're seasoned in tech. We love what we do. Yes, we do. From enterprise halls, to social media's embrace. Give yourself a hug, Martin. We share insights virtually, face to face. Now on We Dish, we're here to play Lighting Up. I'm calling these the sphere waves. I made that up in our uniquely fresh way. Now, here is who my guest is. Martin S. came to the U.S. to work for weeks, or so he thought. 25 years later, count them, a tech-focused career he has proudly wrought. Now a pilot, we're talking airplanes here, with beehives, bikes, and kids, as he just mentioned, life's full speed embrace, residing in the mountains near Mount Rainier's serene face. Baking German bread and family meals fill the air. He's created a life well lived with love and care to spare. Living each day at his bold pace. What next will Martin dare? Yes, Martin's a cool dude with unique style and flair. And he's my first cool dude. Let me finish this. We're chatting on culture. Say what news? We used to call it wacky news that we explore music, food, laughter, and so much more. Meet us here for real in our live streaming glow. Let's see the glow, Martin. I want to see your glow. There you go. Oh, we're glowing. Yes. Comments are welcome. Just play nice. You know who you are. You know. We smile a lot. We even laugh with delight. Tune in live or on demand, day or night. We won't be here, but on demand we'll be. We dish Too Saucy Dame plus Too Cool Dude. Bonnie D and Martin S. dishing on life's happy tude. So do you still like it, Martin?
I love it. Second time even better than the first time. So it's
It's the way I read it. A guest on my Technology Revolution show wanted to have a copy of the opening poem, and that was a show with five on the panel. So I had a poem for each guest plus the opening, the intro
yeah.
to the topic. And he said, "Can I please have the text?" And I thought about it, and I said, I said to myself, Bonnie D, you really want to send him the text? And Bonnie D said to me, no, because that's just text. It's how I read it. It's the implications, it's the sidebars, it's the asides, it's the little inside jokes, it's the little tweaks of the rhymes. That's what makes it special. So, you know what I did, Martinez? I took the Zoom video and I plopped it into iMovie and I took the front of it out, the very front intro, and I took 99% of the show out and I got it down to a 3-minute intro where I read the poem. I uploaded it and sent this lovely gentleman, very, very smart and a real fan of the show. I sent him the download link and I said, there, now you have the poem. And I realized, go ahead.
Isn't there maybe kind of a business opportunity there to sort of saying rather than doing Christmas cards, you're doing Christmas poems or something that are personalized? I mean, I might
I
just,
could do that.
throw it out to too many people now, but it's like talk about, ideas. It's like,
I could do that. I had a business many years ago when I lived in Eugene, Oregon called The Occasional Poet. And I wrote poems for people for special occasions. And I did them on parchment paper. And I think I did some calligraphy. And they were just lovely. It never became a big business, but this was way before AI, way before ChatGPT, way before all kinds of tools and tech that we have today. So maybe I should do that. But he appreciated it. I realized this is my brand. It's how I deliver the opening. That's what I do. It's not just words on paper or in a digital document. So there you go. So Martin, why don't you bring us up to date on what you've been up to just a little bit, a little tiny bit, and then we'll go to our agenda. So what's new with you?
Yeah, as I mentioned in our last call, I think I'm officially on a sabbatical, but I'm now sort of, coming to the tail end of it. Weather is getting worse in the Pacific Northwest. It starts to rain, so you're not feeling that excited to be outside anymore. So my desk has me back, doing a lot of soul searching and thinking, and I think I'm sort of half, my my target in my visor, and I think as of early next year there will be some announcements that will be exciting for me and for lots of other people. So looking forward to it.
Good. Would you consider making the announcement here on We Dish with me? Would you consider that
Absolutely,
in December?
absolutely.
It's a date. Good. Now, nothing new with me other than nothing new with me. Just I think this is my 30th episode of We Dish. I've done maybe 40th. I have my regulars. You're one of my rugalucks, Mary N. and Karen G. and our mutual acquaintance and good friend, Sherry M. Those are my regulars. I think I've done 10 episodes with each of these three, plus 5 or 6 ladies and about 4 other cool dudes who followed in your footsteps, although nobody can fill your shoes.
I
And
appreciate that.
Mary Ann's SO, significant other Ken, was on, and he pointed out to me when I sit in front of part of the sign behind me, it looks like I can't even, he's a cool dud. And nope. So I have to change the banner. I'll make it vertical so that it's over that
It's
eye
okay.
there because I feel terrible saying we have a too cool dud on us. Speaking of cool, oh, and by the way, somebody recently posted on LinkedIn that you shouldn't use LinkedIn. Hello, LinkedIn. You shouldn't use LinkedIn for personal stuff like who people are and what we do and what we like to do and our hobbies and passions and all that. It was just for business stuff. And I've been talking about that on my shows and saying, but we talk about being authentic, being in the moment, in the room, being mindful, being present, right, Martin S. And in order to do that, we need to know who people are. So I'm proud of We Dish, and I'm
I
happy.
I totally agree. And the funny thing is, if I look at my social media history, once in a while I throw out some personal stuff. And if you look at everything, all my contributions on the business side, they sort of get the meh, yeah, it's okay. When you're throwing in sort of the personal bit, that's sort of when people are getting excited. So I would, you know, with respect, disagree on that notion that LinkedIn is just all about that. And frankly, to your point, I believe that
Mm.
if you have the right balance between personal and private, you're a much better business person than, just being nonstop business. But that's just my personal opinion. So
I happen to agree with your personal and professional opinion. And I notice that when I promote my shows, my banners are always different. Sometimes it's a big picture of me with little insets of my guests. Sometimes it's bigger pictures of the guests. I always start from my Monday creativity show. I post on LinkedIn. Monday, I might put the number of the day of the year. Yesterday, today's Tuesday. Yesterday, I promoted that it was 96 years since Minnie and Mickey Mouse appeared in their first film together. 96 years. And did you know? And I got a lot of comments on that one. I posted that her original name was Minerva Mouse, and she was a flapper. And they put her in extra high heels so she would always fall over, and Mickey could rescue her as a damsel in distress. But as the mores and values of the US changed in the 40s and 50s, she became a housewife, a dutiful housewife. And years later, Walt Disney privately, no longer private, obviously, privately said, yes, they were married. So that came, even though it was never quite stated on the show. So I read the history, and that was November 18th, yesterday, 96 years ago. They debuted in Steamboat, I think was the name, Steamboat something. And she had debuted a couple of months early in her own silent 6-minute film, Silent. And then they debuted together on November 18th, 96 years ago. So
And
I
see
thought
where
that.
they've gotten. Maybe I should think about, you know, some mice, because
There
I
you
mean,
go.
if you look at Disney today, it's like
I
lots.
I have a couple.
Yeah,
This was an Nokia travel pack. I've been using it for 20 years. Yes, mice would be fine. But the point was that I added something that was a personal interest to me. It was a birth date reference in my posting before I promoted my show for yesterday. And I had fun doing that. And I hope that it was of interest to people because it's media, it's technology, it's celebrity, it's cute stuff. And I didn't have any pictures of them, but think about all of the boxes that I checked by putting
yeah.
that on LinkedIn. I don't think I hurt anybody's feelings. Okay, there we go. Never had mouse ears. If I did, my mother gave them away. Okay, so we're going to start out with eventually here. You have some new cool dude songs for me, Martin S. What have you got today?
Yeah, in the spirit of sort of a little bit all over the place, but also complexity, let's start with something simple. I thought about it yesterday, and Van Halen Jump is one of those that, personal favorite of mine, obviously. Back in the days, and still today, frankly, dancing to that song any way I can. But it also sort of shows the jump from, doing one thing, now jumping into something else. So I figured it's an appropriate song for me that sort of, embodies what I'm doing right now. So I'm taking a jump, somewhat controlled, but still jumping into a new part of my career. And I'm really excited about it. So yeah, Van Halen Jump has sort of all the bits and pieces that I thought, is a good first song.
Okay, why don't you give me your other two, and then I'll give you my three.
Oh,
So
okay.
go,
So you
go ahead,
want
keep
to
going.
all
Yeah,
three.
keep
So
going.
the other two are completely on the opposite spectrum. So the next one I had was Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World. Some people might disagree what's going on in the world today, but listen, I'm one of those people that actually appreciates what, I and we have as a family and how fortunate and lucky I am, So that sort of for me is a good song to just put it out there. And then the other one is sort of a probably one off the wall is an old man, and I'll use the German saying Johann Sebastian Bach,
Mm-hmm.
Brandenburg Concerto Number 2. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Lots of trumpets in it. So that sort of for me is sort of like if I would, it's always something to strive for. I played the trumpet when I was younger, was decent, made a little bit of money with it, playing in a band, but never was good enough for something like that. So talk about ambition or goals that, another mountain to climb. If I ever had lots of time and young again, that might be something to strive for. These days, I like to listen to it, but once in a while. But yeah, those were my three. I figured I'll kept it a little bit diverse rather than just going into one direction.
I like that. I like that. I have four actually. I have a couple of lyrics to read. One is These Boots Are Made for Walking by Nancy Sinatra, 1966. How many decades was that? 34. That was 50 years ago. Oh my goodness. I won't sing. Anyway, these boots are made for walking. That's just what I'll do. I would say when I feel like
So
being
is
saucy.
that in reference to what you're currently doing, or is that giving me an idea about anything to come? What do I am I,
Well, that's a great, great question. Nobody's ever asked me that. But Martin S., I think that it's coming and going. It's looking for new opportunities, new excitement in the new year. Boots are made for walking. Also, boots are made for drumming. I have my red drummer boots and I can fit in them again. And I auditioned for a band recently and they didn't pick me. They found a testosterone male drummer for the band, but it was okay. I wasn't that keen on what they were doing and who they were. They were very nice people, but it wasn't a fit. But I'm thinking of putting an ad in next door, which people use for their, like Penny Saver here, and seeing if somebody wants to come. Got a huge garage, and I put my old big dining room coffee table, not coffee table, big kitchen table with 4 rattan chairs out there for people to sit and eat if they want to. And there's plenty of room. I can move my drums out there and have people come. There were outlets in there, and I thought I'd start a garage band next year. So boots are made for drumming in the garage. So I think that's cool.
But
Second song, this I love, Respect by Aretha Franklin,
it's a great song.
1967. Isn't that wonderful? Respect. Find out what it means to me. Respect. Take care. TCB. Taking care of business. Oh, suck it to me. Suck it to me. Suck it to me. Suck it to me. I think I got them all. All I'm asking, is a little respect. And I don't think I know that that's what I have been asking for in the world since I became an independent broadcaster in 2011, 2019, and respect. That's it. And I'm asking for people to respect that I do my shows in my style, in my creativity, in how I want to present me and honor and welcome and appreciate my guests my way. So there you go. So that's number
Love
two.
it.
Yes. And number three, I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor,
Oh,
1978. This is a little bit on the mushy side, but I will survive long as I know how to love. I know I'll stay alive. I've got my life to live and all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. That's just a general, yeah, that's like a codicil or a corollary to Leslie Gore's It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to. And then the last one is Patti LaBelle's New Attitude, all the way up to 1984. So I started with 66, 67, 78. We're up to 84. Very modern, Bonnie. I'm feeling good from my head to my shoes. There are the shoes again. Know where I'm going and I know what to do. I tidied up my point of view. I've got a new attitude. And that's what I'm going to do for the new year. Refresh. I'm going to recycle my attitude. I'm going to be part of the attitude circular economy.
oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Tomorrow on Technology Revolution, I'm welcoming Simon Meitz in Germany and 4 of his colleagues. I think somebody's from BMW, somebody's from IBM. We're talking about the automotive circular economy and AI, meaning sustainability
Yeah.
of batteries, of parts, of autos.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start a new movement called the Attitude Circular Economy.
That's a good one. I have to digest that for a little bit, but it sounds certainly right down my alley. So
Me too. Okay, we're up to OTT off the top. Potpourri of topics, fast and furious. Let's do number 1. Holiday shopping. Here are your choices: in person versus online, wish lists versus gift cards. Are you a good rapper? I don't mean, I mean,
yeah, so let's start from the front of this.
okay.
In person versus online, split personality disorder. And I'm and here's the reason why. Love the concept of going out there, touching things, looking at stuff. But every single time I go out there, especially in the holiday time, it's like so many people. And since COVID, it's sort of amplified a little bit. I've gotten better at lots of people, but lots of people and shopping is for me is, I don't want to say it's not a nightmare yet, but it's not. I don't enjoy it anymore as much as I did in the past. So that's kind of why I'm usually retreating to, if I know what I need, I'll just buy it online and learn it. So wish list versus gift cards. I mean, kids obviously have wish lists. Gift cards, it's sort of plan C or D. If you really don't know what the heck, you can get somebody. So I'm not a friend of gift cards, and I usually see it as a backup plan. And then last, am I a good rapper? Well, I can wrap a gift, but my wife will tell you that I should leave it to people that actually know what they're doing. So
Do
yeah.
you remember when department stores used to have a gift wrapping desk and you would take the
Yeah.
item to the back of the store and it would cost a cup and you'd pick the wrapping paper, you'd pick the color of the ribbon, you'd pick the bows to go on top and any little tchotchkes and whatever, little reindeer, whatever, and you'd pay a couple bucks and they'd wrap. Do you remember those days?
Absolutely, because some of my high school classmates would actually do that during the Christmas time in order to make
Really?
money in the Christmas time. So for me, it was always, the store where they would be wrapping gifts was my primary store to get my Christmas presents because, I at least knew that the people that are wrapping my gifts, knew what they're doing. So
Oh,
it's very
that's
funny. So
adorable.
yeah, no, I totally remember those times.
Isn't
And
that funny?
back
I
in
have,
Germany, I think you
yeah.
actually got the wrapping. You got the wrapping for free. You didn't even have to pay for it at that point in time.
Really?
So
Well,
yeah,
the stores here had they had the store selection. It's like getting, the
yeah,
wine from the bar, whatever the house is,
yeah,
it's less expensive. So you could have some paper. It was usually had the name Macy's or Lord& and Taylor or whatever on
yeah.
it. And people say, "Oh, I don't really want that." So you'd pay a little more for the fancy stuff. But I remember watching them and admiring how precise it was
I
lovely.
know. And that's sort of, if you look at, just looking in the mirror, when I look at my rapping, it's sort of like, I think my daughter is actually, she's only 6 years old, but she's probably a better rapper than I am at this point in time. So I'm like, you
Well,
know,
I'm going to give you a trick for your daughter if she's wrapping gifts for this holiday. Instead of buying ribbon and, curling the ribbon, if you take a decent quality wrapping paper, and I once went to a garage sale where was I? In New York, I think, and a woman was cleaning out her house. They were moving, and she had about 20 rolls of very high-end wrapping paper. We're not talking little, we're talking rolls that are 3 feet tall. She had a box of them. I think I paid her something like $8. We could barely fit them in my car. I've still got most of them here. These are heavy duty. They're not just thin paper. Some of them are almost like wallpaper. They're printed on two sides. They are gorgeous. They are non-religious, so you can use them for anything. And I
yeah,
just like looking at them, so I keep moving them. Every time I move state, I take them with me. But here's a trick for your daughter that somebody taught me years ago. If you take a decent quality wrapping paper and you cut a piece like this big and about this high, okay, maybe 5 inches by 8 inches, okay, cut
yeah,
a rectangle, and then you cut into it down, you make strips that are about a half inch and you leave a base so that the base is here and you have these strips
yeah.
coming up. So you cut down, but not all the way. Then you take your scissors, the flat edge of the duller side of the scissors, and you roll it against the wrapping paper on the non-printed side. It will turn it into curly cues. Then you take this piece and it's all curled and you fold it and manipulate it and you tape it to the top of your present and you have created ribbon from the wrapping paper.
I knew that it worked for ribbons. I've never tried that with wrapping
It
paper.
works for paper and it's wonderful. And you get a surprise because the thing on top, the cherry on the top, if you will, or the bow is made from the paper. So you get to see the paper in different positions. So you want to be careful not to push your scissors so that you cut it and cut them off. And then when you've got them, you can uncurl them and take your scissors and go in and make thinner pieces of them so that they
You know,
curl even
I,
more.
I hate to tell you, but I think I will use that as an advantage this Christmas season and then tell my kids about it next Christmas season after they're thoroughly impressed that I can
Yes.
actually do stuff that they can't. So
Yes.
thank you.
I'm this
That's
saucy
what
dame
you
is helping you be a cooler dude with
do.
your
Yeah,
kids.
exactly.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
So, second question is wish list versus gift cards. My family have wish lists. I gave up on wish lists because I never know. Sometimes the stuff is a year old or 2 years old, or do they really still want it or whatever. My granddaughters are both college students, so I give them e-cards. I give them a generous e-card and they could do whatever they want. It's delivered from Amazon in 3 minutes. And I check and they say, yes, thank you. And that's it. Am I a good rapper? Well, I just told you I was. In person, online, I haven't set foot in a store. I'm living in a part of Tennessee here where we are miles from, I'll call it decent shopping. I have to go about 10 miles off of the island, over a great big bridge, over a dam, over the Tennessee River, into Lenore City. It's a lot of supermarkets and commercial, non-commercial stuff and gas stations. And to get to the really interesting stores is about 45 minutes away. Now, I'm used to in Durham, I was 3 minutes from a major retail shopping center. I was
Yep.
New York, living in Great Neck, living on Long Island, you could find stores anywhere. You went to not Valley River with Eugene, you went to Roosevelt Field on Long Island. That was about a half hour away, and you could spend the day there, and it was wonderful. Anyway, so I like online. I shop online and that's it. But I'm mostly giving gift cards. One of my relatives said that they recently saw a fabulous magician an Asian gentleman who has special ways of dealing with cards that he has never seen before. And this magician just wrote a book with sort of kind of some of the tips of how he does his stuff, but of course a magician never reveals. So
Jose.
this relative of mine said, "Would you mind buying me that book for Hanukkah?" And I said, "Be my pleasure." So there. Mm.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. That's it. And I bought them a video game recently, and I forget the name, and they used it already. So they're ready for the next level. There we go. So that takes care of that. Next, New Year's resolutions, yay or nay? What do you think?
Nah, no, I'm like, I'm the guy, I'm the typical German guy, I think, that always takes the things two steps ahead. And, if I had a New Year's resolution and I would break it by middle of January, I would feel bad about it. So I'm like, I'm sort of saying, well, either it's a plan that has nothing to do with New Year's, and then I'm sticking with it. But, the New Year's resolution where, I suddenly eat less or do more this or do more that in anticipation of not being able to follow through enough. I much rather not even start with New Year's resolution and sort of, look at it more in the bigger picture sense, where it's saying, okay, I'll do what I do in order to do it and make the right decision at the moment. But no, for me, New Year's resolution is a nay.
I'm going to join you with the nay, and I find that if I really want to get something done, I make an appointment in my own calendar for myself. I will be case in point, before I do a live show, this one or Technology Revolution or Read My Lips Creativity, I put a 45-minute appointment in for myself that says pre-show prep. That means I know, get ready, clear your plate, get ready, find your lipstick, put up the background, put the sign on the door, do not ring the bell. Nobody does anyway. But my point is that if I have things to do, I will put them in my calendar. Now, my novel, my hysterical, scathingly satirical novel, has been sitting for 6 months, ready to be part A and part B put back together and self-published. And I have not put it in my calendar to finish the book. I have promised myself I'd do it for my birthday, which was a month ago. I'd do it for July 4th, which was how many months ago? I'd do it for last Jan. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So I'm contemplating making an appointment with me, and I'm using a pseudonym because if people knew I wrote this book, they'd come after me. No kid. I mean, it's scathingly funny, but it's based on people I know. So anyway, I told people either have another drink, get a lawyer, or go do a motorcycle or something. Just don't worry about it. It's you. I'm really writing about you. They'll know who they are, or people they know. So that's my big. But making a resolution, Martin, won't do anything about getting me to do it. I take classes for writers. I go to writing webinars. Nothing has helped. I'm not ready. And when I wrote the final line in the character part where it's an almost murder, almost thriller. And when I wrote the final sentence of dialogue for the character who needed to finish the book, I basically shut down and I said, well, he finished talking, he's done, but I never published the damn book. So I have to go back and talk to him and ask him if he's ready, because people say your characters talk to you. Okay, next, holiday TV, movie, favorite classics for the holidays. So you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life. We have, well, no, that was Louis Armstrong, but the movie, Charlie Brown, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Hallmark holiday
Yes.
movies. What do you like?
So I think again, split personality on the dude side. Clearly, Die Hard is one of those go-to movies, even during the Christmas time. It's. I know there's a big discussion out there whether or not it warrants the Christmas movie title. Let's make it a Christmas movie just in order to have something. And yes, I've seen that, and funny enough is my wife and I always joke about it. It's either realtors or Germans that are the bad guys. In this case, it's the East German that is bad guys. So pretty funny. So that's one. Yeah. Then the classic is, and obviously in with my kids, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
Those are the other ones. And then on the softer side, not really a holiday movie, but it sort of fits into the making feel good movie, and a movie that frankly my wife also will start chuckling probably in the background here, that I can watch on a daily basis, is Notting Hill. Yeah,
Oh,
but
really? Hugh Grant and Elizabeth,
love it.
what was her last
Julia
name?
Roberts. Julia Roberts.
Was Elizabeth the English actress who was always in the Hugh Grant movie? Or okay, not I
No,
remember
I don't think
Darlene.
so. No, but
Okay.
anyways, so those are the three or four that are probably going to fall into the holiday season. There are some other, good ones that I've seen in the last few years, but those three are likely gonna show up in some form or fashion in the Christmas time. So yeah.
Are you going to play the Yule log on the TV on Christmas Day? So that damn log is, I mean, a beautiful, gorgeous log is just burning.
No, we're probably going to have kids dancing. So there's probably going to be some sort of dancing music on YouTube, on TV, and have the little
Nice.
ones just dance around the Christmas tree. They're getting all excited when they can, dance. And then the other thing we're doing in with that is sort of they call it the freeze game. There's a TV show that they watched, and yeah, so we're playing music, then stopping the music, and whoever is still moving is out. So that we're doing that as a family. It's pretty funny. So, yeah.
I'm going to suggest a song to you for your kids. You can show them the video if you want. It's a riot, but the song is Happy Dance by Mercy Me. It's a Christian rock band. Their music is wonderful. It's not a religious song, but it's got some good messages in it. And the video is a riot. It takes place in a wedding in somebody's basement. And they have
Excellent.
little
We'll
little kids
mark that down.
dancing, and it's not what moves you. It's not how you move, it's what moves you. Couple of messages in there, not religious messages, not faith-based, but it's so cool, the video. And sometimes
Nice.
when I'm in a mood, I'll just have Alexa play the audio in my kitchen and I'll just dance. But they have a way, they have white shirts and bow ties, the band. And at the end, you have to play the video all the way to the end. They show the end, everybody's cleared out, and he goes, I think he tucks a dollar bill into the pocket of the saxophone player who's leaning against a post in this basement. But at the point where the song is repeating the name, he says, Happy Dance. And you want to just you want to repeat, you want to snap, and you just get the way he said, no, happy dance. And you want to get that exact beat, and it's so much fun to dance to. So I recommend that. I cannot watch mushy gushy holiday movies. I will cry. I cry a lot. Anything. I'm watching West Wing for the first time. I think I told you that. I'm at season 7. I know Leo's gonna die. I know. And I know John Spencer died in real life. And just seeing him in season 7, I just sit there and I cry because I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. So I'm a mush when it comes to anything. I'll watch Hallmark movies if it's the mystery series where somebody is a florist and somebody's a baker and somebody dies. I'll watch those, but I won't watch the mushy holiday. No, can't do that. Okay, we passed that. Favorite ways to relax. Did we cover those with you in the other topics, or what do you think?
I don't
How
think
are you
so.
relaxing for the holidays?
Oh,
Not wrapping gifts.
top one with, miles to spare, getting a couples massage with my wife, best thing ever.
Ooh, ooh.
Um, Unfortunately, things have gotten so expensive that, it's really sort of like almost like buying a car these days. But yeah, favorite, if you ask for the favorite ways to relax, so that's one. The much more real thing is doing puzzles, Legos, and games with the kiddos. So just, spending a Sunday afternoon or the Christmas holidays, um, you know, putting Lego puzzles together or doing games, having fun with the kids, that's sort of relaxing to me. And then the last one is, getting together with my wife and just wedge and have wine and cheese day. So and chat, that's sort of the number three, I think. And there are obviously some other ways, but those are my top three, I would say.
Would you like to adopt me? Do you need an auntie, an aunt, or a grandma or somebody to come and be part of that? My relaxation is actually researching. I love researching, on all of my shows except this one. My guests send me a movie or a TV fictional quote from a character or a song lyric, and then they relate it to the topic, whether it's technology or creativity. I spend hours researching the quotes people send me. And to me, that is so relaxing because I learn a lot. I learn about movies, I learn about TV, I learn about things that I may want to go and watch after that's one way I relax. Another is I like cooking and baking. I just love, and I've started to make a new kind of homemade soup that is so easy and so delicious. I just take a big Vidalia onion, which are out of season, but if you get them, you get them. I have a bag of them and they're still good. Cut it up, put in a little bit of canola oil. I don't want to be judged on that. That's the oil I use for most of my kitchen. I don't use olive, but I have that too. A little bit of Johnny seasoned salt, which is unbelievable. A mixture, no MSG, comes from Northwest, I think, Johnny's. You can buy it online and make sure it says no MSG on the package. I bought big bottles of it on Amazon, and then I filled a smaller bottle a couple times a year, and I give them as gifts. They're wonderful. Johnny seasoned salt, and I saute that lightly, and then I'll take if I have some frozen spinach in the freezer, I'll crunch a little bit out and add that, and then I'll add some red potatoes cut up in small pieces, and I'll let that saute. Then I add chicken stock, not broth. No
Yeah.
seasoning, chicken stock. Then I'll throw in some basil. I'll throw in some oregano. I'll throw in some thyme. I'll throw in some whatever seasoning I have in little shakers. Tarragon I like, and I'll throw that in, and then I'll just let it cook down a little bit, and then I'll add a little more. And at the end, I'll either add wide broad noodles,
Yeah.
egg noodles, or I added white long grain rice the other day, a handful of it, and the rice soaked up the liquid. I had a little more water, and I can keep that going in the fridge and a bowl at a time
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah.
days. And that to me, smelling the scent of I just love to cook, even though I live alone. I'm alone right now. But I will tell you what I do is I'll take a little bowl, cover it. Yeah, it will crackle if you put it in the microwave. I'll put a paper towel, a damp paper towel over the top. And when it's hot enough, I sprinkle fresh Parmesan or Locatelli Romano on top of it. And I'll
Wow.
take a piece of whole grain bread. I'll either toast it briefly or just cold, push some butter on top of it, big glass of cold water, and go and watch TV and have it on my little table. And I got to tell you, the whole experience of creating the soup and thinking, sometimes I'll put mushrooms in it. Sometimes if I have chicken, leftover chicken, I'll put a little cut up chicken in it. And it just becomes my little corner of heaven. So that's how I relax. So yes, and the French detective shows also. So it's time for our used to be wacky headlines, and now we call it Say What? I'm sorry. It's your fault. We used to do wacky, and now it's Say What? Yes. Do you have, oh, let's do one from you, one from me, one from you, one from me, and then we'll finish. So what have you got, Martin?
Okay, let's start with a business one. And this
Okay.
one was really funny. Facebook's AI bots made their own language. I don't know if you saw that, but
No.
so they had two AI bots talk to each other, and the dialogue is what just made me chuckle because um, it's the discussion between Bob and Alice, and you see the back and forth. And Bob says, I can, I, everything else, dot, 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 dot. And Alice responds with, balls have zero to me, to me, to me, to me, to me. And it goes on and on like that. And you're like, I don't know what you're trying to communicate, but it's sort of, yeah. So these two chatbots actually started talking to each other and somehow came up with an old language to interact with each other. But yeah, the dialogue was what got it over the top for me because it's sort of like I have no idea what they're trying to convey, but I would have assumed they are starting with math equations, as a computer. But no, they're going all into me, and I, and so yeah, it was just one of those where I just shook my head and said, "Okay, good on you. I have no idea what you're talking about, but it's somebody might explain that 20 years from now what actually was the background. But it's two AI bots talking to each other in a new language. So there you have
I
it.
hope they had a good time. I have some guests on my creativity show on Mondays, Martin, who are sci-fi authors. And when I ask them to do their countdown for the Engineer 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, some of these people have created worlds with their own languages, with their own everything, with their own beings, and they'll do it in a language we have never heard of. I just say use 5 words that sort of sound like numbers and count them distinctly down as though you're saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I don't care what it is. And they come up with stuff that's just, there are improv games called gobbledygook. Have you ever heard of an improv game called gobbledygook? I
No.
I used to do that
Heard
on
of
my
gobbledygook, but I've never heard of the improv game
I
gobbledygook.
used to
So
do that on I had a TV show called What's So Funny in New York on Long Island. And one of the we'd tape 3 hours of skits of improv skits. Well, I had all my friends from my New York improv and comedy classes. And gobbledygook was you would look, I'd be the moderator, let's say in the middle, it'd be you, and let's say your wife on the other side, okay, sitting for three. And you would look at her and you say, ha ha, hung hanging, young. And I would look at you and I would say to her, he wants to know if you like celery in your tomato soup. And she would answer, ooh, ah. And I would say back, I don't know what language I'm talking. And I would say back, she says, no, she prefers chocolate syrup. And I would conduct the date being the moderator, the translator. And
It's awesome. So a little bit like Klingon, but that's a whole different
I'm
story.
sorry, my languages are not that good, just French and English. Okay, my first story is, and let me see if I can share here. And I've got the screen set up, first desktop. Okay. And this is the Florida Museum is attempting a paper rocket world record. Can you see this picture of a paper rocket? I've never made one like that.
Yeah.
The Orlando Science Center in Florida announced it will attempt a Guinness World Record on Saturday, and this was done on November 13th, so it's already this past weekend, I guess, for the most people flying paper rockets simultaneously. They're seeking to gather enthusiasts of all ages at the facilities, Dr. Phillips Cinedome, and they're hoping 250 people will attend. And I'm going to stop sharing so I can read the rest of the story because there's no picture on page 2. I've got my notes back. Here we are. They say, for the purposes of the record, a paper rocket is defined as a toy made entirely of paper that fits into a straw. And I've never heard of this before. And the straw is blown through. The rocket flies into the air. I've never, that's why it looked like what it did. Members of the public hoping to participate are encouraged to arrive by 10 a.m. Saturday. As seating is limited to 300, and registration will fly on a first come, first served basis. Guinness Book of World Records adjudicator will be on hand to watch the attempt. We're focused on creating iconic experiences that ignite curiosity and love for science. We are excited to welcome the community as we attempt to achieve this record while also highlighting the STEM skills needed to achieve it. What do you think of that, Martin S.?
It's the first time I hear the term paper rocket, so I need to do some investigation and digging into that. My kids always do this to me. They're taking the straw and taking the wrapper off and then shooting it at me by
Yeah,
blowing
I do
it. So
that. Yep.
if that's what they call a paper rocket, then I'm in. I'm
No,
like,
no, this is the picture. Let me go back to the
yeah,
picture
no,
and show
but
you.
it's I think that's their propulsion system, correct? It's blowing
Yes,
into something.
yes, yes. There's something inside of this. I don't see any other pictures. It looks like they've taped I don't see a straw here at all. This couldn't fit into a straw.
No,
This
that's
is the
that's kind of
actual,
like that's kind of what I'm
just a
trying to figure
rocket.
out, whether or not the rocket is the outside and you're using the straw in order to sort of push it forward, or is it
Oh,
inside the.
isn't that odd? It says it fits into a straw. So this is not a depiction because there's no straw that big.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know the definition of a paper rocket. I need to dig into that, but it's interesting.
Well,
Like I
we used
would.
to make them. You took a piece of paper and you folded it and you made the wings and you made it pointy and then you just threw it in the air and
But
saw
that's
where
a
it was
paper
going.
airplane. That's not a paper rocket.
Oh,
That's kind
oh,
of. So I know paper airplanes very well. I mean, my kids and I are doing that, and we even devised a paper airplane war, yeah, where they're even doing that with their grandma and flying airplanes at each other. So it's pretty funny. But no, paper rockets is a new one to me, but I like it. Curious whether or not they made the world record, and also curious that 250 people already sort of gets you to the paper thing. Maybe a shout out to the Museum of Flight here in Seattle. They're doing these
mm.
kinds of things. They could probably pull it off. So
Well, I'll send you the article. You can send it to them and say we
fantastic.
want one in Seattle. There you
We'll,
go.
we'll do that.
And it should be done on the top of the Space Needle in the restaurant,
Oh,
right?
now we're talking.
I know. I know the person who designed and built the Space Needle, so
I
leave that
remember. I
we'll leave
remember.
that one alone. So what's your headline? Say what? Number 2, Martin?
For LA residents. Now you could, it starts like a bad joke, but it's getting better. Allegedly defrauded multiple insurance companies of over $141,000. And you know why?
Why?
Because they told insurers a bear damaged their car, but it was actually a person in a costume.
I saw that. I saw that article. I saw the picture of this bear, the costume with the claws detached and everything.
I'm just like, oh my, I was like, you can't make this stuff up. And that goes into the category of, get four people get together and decided that, defrauding an insurance company by pretending that, one of them is a bear, has probably a fluffy mode, and it was like, I don't think I could drink enough wine in order to get to that end result. But it was one that certainly came into the category of what?
I saw it. Say what? I saw that. I saw that article. Yes, I saw the picture yesterday. I figured maybe you would pick it, but it wasn't for me. That's interesting. Interesting. Okay. I think the fake bear was more interesting than the defrauding part, but shame on them
Yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
My second headline is why is soda called a soft drink and when is it called pop? And I'll give you a little bit of history.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I actually I experienced that firsthand because I was when I came to the US, I lived in Boston for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody calls it pop out there. And then I started dating a lady from the West Coast, and she was always talking about pop, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And so we had this discussion, and she clued me in as in it's sort of like a Mason-Dixon line, I guess, of bad
Mm-hmm.
analogy of pop versus soda. In Germany, we call it the white sausage equator to sort of, where things change from a description. But yeah, no, interesting. So I think it's a geography thing, correct? Where
I'm going to give you the whole history. So the term soft drink was coined in the late 19th century as a non-alcoholic substitute for hard liquor in an attempt to change early Americans' drinking habits. While soda is still the most popular soft drink, mineral waters are still popular in Europe and Latin America, and kava, made from the roots of a shrub, is a favorite in the Pacific Islands. Soft drinks are typically made with water, sweeteners, and flavorings. Other names: pop, soda, and fizzy drinks. Pop is used in the Midwest, the Great Plains, and the Northwest. Soda is used in the Northeast, Missouri, Illinois, and parts of California, although they don't say which parts. Soda comes from soda water named after the sodium chloride, the sodium citrate, and the sodium bicarbonate that carbonated water contains. Now, here I'm going to give you a little bit of chemistry history here. In the late 18th century, English chemist Joseph Priestley created carbonated water. You ready for this, Mark? Are you sitting down? Looks like you're sitting down. He suspended a bowl of water over a vat of beer, and he let the carbon dioxide escaping from the beer infuse the water. That was the beginning of soda water.
no, that's news. I mean,
Okay,
I didn't have
I have
any
more
idea
news
about.
on I have more news on this. 15 years later, Johann Jacob Schwepp founded in 1783 his carbonated water, and he was most famous for Schweppes ginger ale. Although his carbonated water was a hit with the upper crust, those people, the commercial potential of soda water was still limited. In the 19th century, 20 years after Schweppes started his natural soda water, somebody combined wine with carbonated water and created a wine spritzer. The new hybrid became a hit, but not everybody could afford wine with the carbonated water. So we're talking about a demographic thing here. At the Mason-Dixon, the sausage line, some began adding flavored syrups to soda water instead. At the end of the U.S. Civil War, newspaper readership soared and the proliferation of ads, including for flavored soda drinks. This created demand for soda. Let's move to 1892. There was a man in Atlanta who patented a recipe for a carbonated beverage that used cola nuts and a dash of cocaine to provide an energy boost. He called it Coca-Cola, for short, Coke. Cocaine was replaced with another C word, caffeine, a few decades later. I wonder who was using that
Yeah.
all those decades, and the name Coke. So the man was May 8th, 1886. It was the first Coca-Cola was served at Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta, Georgia, the creation of Dr. John Pemberton as a tonic for ailments. He had no idea what was in store for his products, the company, or the industry. Soon they had Hires root beer. Soon they had Dr. Pepper. Soon we saw Pepsi. But Packaging was difficult. So guess where they were sold? The soda fountain at the corner drugstore. The pharmacy soda fountain, they still didn't have, ready for this? The soda can didn't come till 1970. And that's by that time, around that time, soda fountains were pretty much down. No, my timeline is wrong. Pepsi began selling soda in cans in 1948. So I'm wrong. 1948, the cans came. Coca-Cola added it in 1955. Royal Crown root beer in 1964. They put pull tabs on cans in 62. Plastic bottles in 1970. Stay on tabs in 74. And today, Coca-Cola sells 2 billion cans and bottles a day. That's the history. There you go. Are you amazed, shocked, and amazed?
All of the above.
Isn't that something? Isn't that some article?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing is I think I heard about this cocaine thing, but that sort of is a whole other can of worms there. Like, so for what, 20 or 30 years, people were on drugs when they drank Coke. It's like,
Just a little tiny bit. It was that energy boost. Yes. And they didn't know that, which is interesting. But I found interesting that it was so clumsy in the packaging that they could only put it in the
yeah,
soda
yeah,
fountain in the drugstore. You went and you get a soda. I want a Coke, and they put the Coke syrup in and they put the carb. But the part that really interested me, and I think you took in a deep breath, was how the originator had the fumes from the beer going into and that's
and
how he created
that,
carbonation.
that's sort of the missing piece that I'm, as an engineer now. When did they switch it from that approach to something else? Because, I don't think that they're still using beer as sort of a driver for, so they're using something else now, but when did that happen? When did they figure out a different approach? But, with my German heritage, I'm saying, hey, thanks to the beer guys, for,
Yep.
Coke and Fanta and Sprite and Dr. Pepper and whatever we have these days.
That
So
is the
I have
missing
no
link. And
idea.
I think Johann Jacob Schwepp might have been the one, because it's at 15 years after the beer and water of
Yeah,
Priestley's method. Schweppes founded his company to sell his own carbonated water. And that
yeah,
was the ginger ale. So
yeah.
I think in there, I will research that for next time we meet. What's your third story? I'm glad you like that one. Go
I love
ahead.
it. The other one I had was a robot identifies plants by touching their leaves. So researchers have developed a robot that identifies different plant species at various stages of growth by touching their leaves with an electrode. So I find that interesting because the one that I found interesting is the robot identified 10 different plant species with an average accuracy of 97.7%. And I was thinking about this percentage, and this is the math and science guy in me. It was like 97.7% doesn't sound like a lot, but then I thought about it, like, what's the percentage for human? If you just touch a leaf, without seeing it, I mean, my percentage would probably be by 2%. It would be less than 50-50 because I would say, yeah, this might be an oak leaf, but it's more the form than the touch and the feel. So find it fascinating, because um, the tactile sense is something that is really difficult for machines. And so I'm really curious to see where that gets us, when we're getting actually to also then virtualize that, because
Hmm.
when you're playing computer games, it's yeah, people are doing this, but you don't have the pushback from a button that you click in a virtual environment, and so if we can sort of turn the sense into let's call it a glove or something, that would be really
Hmm.
exciting. And we talked about it for the last 10-15 years, but I haven't really seen any progress being made that sort of enters the household market. So I found that interesting, and just like what, with AI now sort of, permeating everything, that's sort of the next frontier, I think, where we'll see probably progress being made.
I like that. And you just gave me an idea for a topic on my Technology Revolution show. Having people like you and me and getting three to join us for a panel would be, this is the AI Say What show, and bringing in things that we are learning about through news articles, through research that are in the works, not predicting them, but talking about where they are today and then wishes and hopes for their usefulness in coming years. We're going to do a say what show. I have something in mind. Are you in? You in?
Absolutely. I'm
Okay,
in.
good. I have one more to share, and then we're going to say goodbye. And by the way, somebody whose voice you hear on my show in the beginning is working on a system for, I think, playing music for plants and sensing moods. And yeah, I can't say too much more, but there's something in the works that's being done in Europe right now. And it's very interesting. And when I know more, I'll ask his permission to talk about it here on the show. He's been on the show with me as well. Let me share my last one. This is going to be interesting for all of us, I think. Do you know what these are, Martin? Do you know what these are?
Yes.
Okay. Say it. Say it.
They're floppy disks,
Yeah,
but
okay. How many do you still
but
have? Any?
oh yeah, I still have 30, 40 around.
Okay.
Those and the bigger ones, the real floppy ones, the four
Mm-hmm.
and a quarter inch ones that
Yep.
yeah, but keep going. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. I wanted to know. So the floppy disk with your fourth grade essay on dinosaurs. Well, I was working with these. I
I was
wasn't
just
doing,
going to say, what are you talking about?
they're
How does
not
that
that
work?
old. That your
Yeah.
mom found deep in the closet of your childhood bedroom is probably not worth anything more than sentimental value. Try telling that to the city of San Francisco. You ready? Which is paying $212 million just to get rid of the floppy disks that are powering the Muni Metro light rail. Oh my goodness, here we go. Ars Technica reported that the city, which since 1998, what is that, 26 years ago, has used 5.25-inch floppies to load the software that contains the rail central servers, is finally switching to a state of the art. How can they even say state of the art if it took them that long? That's 5 generations ahead of the technology you used to save your Oregon Trail progress before your character died of dysentery. Believe it or not, the floppy disk system still works fine, but San Francisco transportation officials are finding it difficult to remain experts on the ancient technology. Martin, can
They
you
make me
believe?
feel they make me feel old. Like
No
because
kidding.
we just used it yesterday, and as a matter of fact, I just because I wanted to show my kids how that worked, I pulled out my old Commodore 64, which has a disk drive that uses exactly that in our summer vacation last year, and said, "This is how we started. Appreciate it." And they're like, "Oh, this is exciting." So yeah, as much as I get it, yeah. Um, the funny aspect about this is that there's actually a cyber safety aspect to these old systems because
Mm.
less and less people actually know what to do with them. So there's less likelihood of intrusion into those than into the new ones. So yeah, but funny.
Well, I use for
Surprised?
backups, I use the little WD Western
Yeah,
drives, Western disk drives, I think they're
yeah,
called. And I must have 5 or 6 of them because they fail after a while. And you keep buying, and now you're buying them in terabytes, 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 5 terabytes, and you hook them up and you do a backup from your Mac or your PC, and then you put them in a closet, and then you have to label them and remember what was I working on in this year and what's on this drive. But I've got several of those that probably should be cleaned out and tanked because they just fail. They just won't work anymore. And there's data locked in those. And I don't know what to do as far as sustainability goes, whether you take a hammer to them. I don't know what's inside, and I don't want to know. I'll talk to my CE friends, my circular economy friends tomorrow and ask them what the heck to do with those. But I've seen storage devices obviously change. We have little thumb drives. We had the almost paper-like floppies that were just, you could
yeah,
bend them and they
yeah.
came in a little envelope. We had the floppies that I just showed you. And so we've seen a lot of changes to how big, how much can they carry, how small can they be, how convenient can they be to use, how secure are they, and how reliable are they? And the reliable is the part. Now, every time I turn off, let's say I turn off my Mac, I want to refresh the IP address or something like that. I no longer have access to my external hard drive, which is for my backup. So a little thing comes on the screen and it's called WD Unlocker. and I have to put in my password, and then I click unlock. Well, sometimes it shows up right away. Sometimes it shows up after 2 minutes. Sometimes it doesn't show up at all. So I'm sitting here, and I know the password is good, trying to get it to show up. And I wonder what in the heck is even on that thing, but I wouldn't dream of not having it. Am I right?
Yep. Yep. Totally agree.
There we go. There we go. So Martin, I don't know if I'm going to see you again before the holidays. It's December. What is it? Today is November 19th. Yeah,
Yeah, it
November
feels
19th.
like Christmas is just around the corner.
I
It's
know, I know. Too soon, too soon. You want to do this again in December and we'll catch up before the holidays? Will you make
how
time
about
for
we're
me?
doing it early
January?
January because then I
January is
have
fine.
news to spread.
I would love that. I want you to make your announcement on my show. That would be absolutely great.
Let's
And
do
I'm
that.
going to work on the background here so that we're not sitting on top of the cool. It's Too Saucy Dame plus cool. You'll just be the plus
Cool,
cool.
cool.
Cool and Martin S will be. And thank you to Ken for pointing that out to me. I got to either get a different font or squeeze it together. I'll do something like that.
All good.
Martin, it's always, I don't know why I have so much fun talking to you. And you and I've known each other through my technology show and through I was working with Rising Wipro and I did a series and you were on that. And if you know any other cool dudes who would like to do this, send them my way. I
Will
love
do.
talking to cool dudes.
Have a great holiday
Thank
season
you.
and
Thank you very much.
enjoy hopefully your time off and we'll
I never ever have time off. When am I going to take time off? I'm doing 3 2 Saucies this week, plus creativity show, Read My Lips, plus the technology revolution tomorrow. Can I have bragging rights here for a second, please?
absolutely.
Technology Revolution is now ranked number 2 on FeedSpot's top 20 future tech shows. Now, clarify, they call them podcasts. All of my shows are live streaming. I don't call myself a podcaster. I'm a streamer, not a streaker, a streamer. But what's important is that because they're recorded as they're live streaming, they then
Yeah.
become podcasts, but they're not pre-recorded for the purpose of editing, scrubbing, or posting later. It's all, I call it without a net,
Yeah.
simulcast,
So
radio and
you
video.
should get extra credits for it, in my opinion.
Well, nobody wants it.
Well,
Why aren't
so
you podcasting? So the point is that we made number 2. We've been coming up the ranks. We were in the top 10. We were in the top 5. And the one that's ahead of my show is Slate Magazine has their own future tech podcast. And I thought, wow, if I'm next in line to Slate Magazine's show with all of their muscle and their money, I'm very honored. So all of you who are watching, who know me, who don't know me, thank you for being there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. Thank you for following. I just do this to enlighten the world and have some good times and talk to smart people and hopefully do it with a smile. And that's it. Martin S., it's absolutely lovely talking to you. And I will give credit where credit is due. The gentleman singing and playing the music with my lyrics is Serge Huffman with 2 N's on Huffman. He's in Paris. He's a successful musician and songwriter working on all kinds of projects with bands, with operas, with opera singers, with combos, with classical music groups. And he is a prolific song composer and performer. So I'm always honored. Let me start the music again. Let's put this on, make sure I've got all of my things on here. There we go. Okay, volume up. And let's take this out. And don't go away, Martin. We'll talk afterwards. So You Want to Be. Here we go. I love that drum beat. Got to bring my sticks in. This is my rock and roll jacket. Did I tell you that? It's my mom's. Is that cool?
Hanging with an empty sack.
Oh, you're dancing good.
Looking real pure and fine.
I think we went a whole hour this time, Martin.
Thank you.
So you wanna be
Here we go. Bop, 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 bop. Let me know the music and say bye-bye, and I'll be talking.